Very good morning, cadets. Hope you have gone through all the previous video lessons and completed question and answers related to chapter 6 and 7. Complete the homework at the earliest. Chapter number 8 and 9, they are last chapters in social and political life, that is civics. Chapter 8 is an interesting chapter. This chapter deals with a simple name, that is a story of a shirt. Okay, now you may be surprised, a shirt in the market. How a shirt got its own story, how shirt is manufactured in the factory, and what are the process which undergo before it completes as a finished product. So let us go through the chapter and understand what chapter is all about. A shirt in the market. This chapter tells us the story of a shirt. Now you may be surprising, what is the story for a shirt? It begins with the production of cotton and ends with the sale of a shirt. When we visit garment or showrooms, then if you want to purchase a shirt or any other cloth, we get a finished product. We hardly think that every shirt or every garment got a story. We shall see that the chain of market links the producer of cotton and buyer of shirt in market. Buying and selling take place at every step in the chain. Does everyone benefit equally from this? Do some people benefit more than others? We shall find it out. So what do you mean by buying? Before a shirt comes to a market, it is a raw cotton, goes to the factory, and from this yarn or thread is taken out, and from that the shirt is manufactured. So this entire story we are going to study in this chapter. A cotton farmer in Kurnool. Kurnool is in Andhra Pradesh. Swapna, a small farmer in Kurnool district of Andhra Pradesh. What she is growing? She grows cotton, her small piece of land. So in small piece of land she grows cotton. The balls of cotton plant are ripe and some have already burst. So Swapna was so busy picking cotton. The balls which carry cotton in them do not burst open all at once. It takes several days to harvest the cotton. Once cotton is collected, instead of selling it at Kurnool cotton market, so instead of selling in Kurnool cotton market, Swapna and her husband takes harvest to the local trader. So instead of taking to the wholesale market, they sell the product to a local trader or local shop owner. At the beginning of the crop season, Swapna had borrowed 2,500 rupees from the trader at a very high interest. It's a very, very common story of Indian farmers, because Indian farmers, for their day-to-day expenditure, they take advance loans from the traders. Traders give loan with the confidence that once the harvest is over, the crop definitely will reach to them. So that's the reason why they lend loan. Seeds, fertilizers, pesticides for cultivation. So pesticides, seeds, cultivation, everything is collected, and advance loan of rupees 2500 taken from Swapna from the local trader. At that time, local trader made Swapna agree to another condition. He made her promise to sell all her cotton to him. So on what condition or on what understanding she taken money? With the understanding that once the harvest is started, the entire product is sold to the local customer. That is what the condition is done. Cultivation of cotton requires high level of inputs such as fertilizers, pesticides, and the farmers have incurred heavy expenses on account of these. Most often the small farmers need to borrow money to meet their expenses. So most of the time the money is required to purchase pesticides, insecticides, fertilizers and all those things. So that's why they need advance money. At the trader's yard, two of his men weigh bags of cotton at a price of rupees 1500 per quintal. Cotton fetches rupees 6000. The trader deducts rupees 3000 for repayment of loan and the interest pays loan and interest and pays Swapna 6000 rupees. So what is here you have to understand? Swapna has taken 2500 rupees as a loan. So he purchased quintal of cotton for 1500. As a result, what happened? Cotton fetches 6000 rupees but hardly gets very less money. Here she gets the person charges 500 rupees as interest and pays leftover money to Swapna. Did Swapna get fair price? Did Swapna get fair price on the cotton? Why did trader pay Swapna a low price? Where do you think large farmers would sell their cotton? How is their situation different from Swapna? So now what we are going to check is that, is it a fair price? So that is what we have to check. It's a picture here. Traders sell cotton in Kurnool market. Second, Ginning Mill buys cotton. Ginning Mill removes the seeds and presses the cotton into bales. Spinning Mills buys the bales. Spinning Mills spins the cotton into yarn. Spinning Mills sell the yarn to dealer. This is how the total activity of spinning mill is involved. Now Swapna says only 3000 rupees. Trader, cotton is selling cheap. There's a lot of cotton in the market. This is the usual statement of a trader. He says cotton is not selling for a higher price. There is a lot of cotton available in the market. Swapna, I have toiled so hard for 4 months to grow this cotton. You can see how fine and clean the cotton this time. She says you see how beautiful the quality of cotton is there, how fine, how white and clean, how it is there. And she told, I really had a hope that I'll get a better price this time compared to the last. Trader, Amma, I am giving you good price. Other traders are not even paying this much. So he justifies his payment. He says that I am paying you better payment. Others are not paying this. You can check at Kurnool market. If you do not believe me, he says, you go and check in Kurnool wholesale market, and if you don't have a trust on me. Swapna says, don't be angry. How can I doubt you? Because she is depending on him for purchase of advance loans and all those things. I had only hoped that we would earn enough from the cotton to last us for few months. She says that, poor lady, she says that I had a hope that I earn at least this time better, so that few months I can lead a comfortable life. Though Swapna knows that cotton will sell for at least 1800 per quintal, she doesn't argue further. Why she doesn't argue further? Because she knows there is no meaning in arguing this man, because he is the person who gives advance loan to her. That's the reason she feels better not to argue. But poor lady, she feels it's really injustice. The trader is a powerful man in the village, and the farmers have to depend on him for loans, not only for cultivation, for any other purposes, but also meets the exigencies such as illness, children's school fees, and all those things. So trader is so powerful man, they have to depend on him for their day-to-day requirement. Also, there are times in the year when there is no work and no income to the farmers. So these farmers cannot go against the trader, because he is the only source of help for them in that particular village. So borrowing money is the only means to survival. Swapna's earning from cultivation of cotton is barely more than what she might have earned as a wage laborer. So now what is the conclusion here? Instead of cultivating the cotton with a great difficulty, if she would have gone for work in some other's farm as a common labor, she would have earned better income than what she earned now by selling her own product. Now let us see the situation of Erode. Erode is Tamil Nadu. We just completed one situation of Andhra Pradesh market. Now let us see what is the scene in Erode. The cloth market of Erode. Erode's bi-weekly cloth market in Tamil Nadu is one of the largest cloth markets in the world. So Erode is famous for largest cloth market in the world. A large variety of cloth is sold in this market. Cloth that is made by weavers in the village around is also bought here for a sale. So Erode is not only famous for variety of cloth, and nearby places also the products are coming. Around the markets, offices, cloth merchants who buy this cloth, other traders from many South Indian towns also come and purchase cloth in this market. So Erode market is very, very popular because several are purchasing from this particular place. On market days, you would also find weavers bringing clothes that has been made on order from the merchant. These merchants supply cloth and order to garment manufacturers and exporters around the country. They purchase the yarn and give instruction to the weavers about the kind of cloth that is made. Following example, you can see how it is done. You can see the chain of market 1, 2, 3. I'll explain all these things in the later example. This is a mill, this is a small trading shop, and this is how the activities related to that is done. Scene 1. What is scene 1? In the merchant shop in the bazaar, over the years these traders have developed extensive contacts with the garments firms around the country whom they get orders. These orders purchase yarn from the traders. Second, the weavers live in village around and take the yarn supplied by these traders to their home, where their loom are located in sheds adjacent to their houses. So means that's not a separate factory, near to their houses only. This photograph shows the power loom. In one such house, the weavers and their families spend long hours working in these looms. Most weaving units have about 2 to 8 power looms on which the yarn is woven into cloth. A variety of saris, towels, shirts, ladies' dress materials and bed sheets are produced in the looms. They then bring back the finished clothes to the traders. Here they can see getting ready to the merchants in the town. Traders keep an account of yarn given and pay money for weaving into the clothes. So, what is the difference between earlier story and this story? Here it is entirely different, where they are small units, and not only that, where farmers are directly involved in weaving, so naturally they get the returns directly to them compared to the what we saw in the Kurnool market. Weavers producing cloth at home. The merchant distributes work among the weavers based on the orders he has received from the cloth. The weavers get yarn from the merchant and supply him the cloth for weavers. This arrangement seemingly has two advantages. The weavers do not spend money for their purchase of yarn. Also, the problem of selling finished goods is taken. So what happened here? The two problems are taken, where the weavers had to spend their money on purchase of yarn. Also, problem of selling finished clothes is taken care. Weavers know from the outset what cloth they should make and how much it should be woven. However, this dispense of merchants both for raw materials and markets mean that the merchant have a lot of power. They give orders for what is to be made and pay very low price for making clothes. The weavers has to pay knowing who are making clothes for what at price it will be sold. At the cloth market, the merchants sell the clothes to the garment factories. In this way, the market works more favor of merchants. Weavers invest their savings or borrow money at high interest rates to buy looms, that is power looms. Each loom costs nearly 20,000. So small weavers with the two looms has to invest 40,000. The work on these looms cannot be done alone. The weavers and another adult member of his family work up to 12 hours to produce a cloth, and they earn hardly rupees 3,500 per month. The arrangement between the merchants and weavers is an example of putting out system. So what is this example? This is called putting out system, whereby merchants supply the raw material and receive the finished product. So what is the system here? Merchants supply the raw material. Take for example, if you are a trader, you purchase raw material and give the raw material to a person. That person uses the raw material provided by you and convert that raw material into finished product, and you take the finished product, and for that you are giving him certain amount of money. So what happens here? It is prevalent in the weaving industry in most of the regions. So in the most of the regions, the same thing is happened, where the merchants purchase threads or yarn, and this will be given to the handlooms, and handlooms convert the yarn into finished product, and it comes back to the customer in a different form. What are the following people doing in Erode cloth market? Merchants, weavers and exporters. In what way are weavers dependent on cloth merchants? So why the weavers are dependent on cloth merchant? Because weavers, they are unable to purchase the yarn by paying money. So they are dependent on cloth merchants because cloth merchants purchase the product or the raw material and provide. If the weavers were to buy yarn on their own and sell clothes, they would probably earn 3 times more. Do you think this is possible? How? Discuss. Now what happened here? If a weaver is purchasing yarn or thread, then once his finished product is over, then he can fix the price for his finished product. So naturally he can earn more than what he is earning at present. Do you find similar putting out arrangements in making papads, masalas, BDs? Find out in your areas and discuss in class. You might have heard of cooperatives in your area. It could be a milk, provision, paddy, etc. Find out whose benefit they were set up. Now let us take 1 or 2 examples. You may be heard of BDs. Okay. How this BDs? BD is a like cigarette, not cigarette. BD is made up of tendu leaves. Now how this BD small scale industry works? Where the trader purchases the products related to this and gives these products or the raw materials to the people. People take this raw material, means workers take this raw material and they fold the BD, means they manufacture or they prepare those BDs and give. And here what he does, for a bunch of 25 BDs, he fixed this certain amount of money. So what happens here? Here a person who works in home, by taking all those materials, benefit is that it is kind of a side business to the homemakers. Same way you can understand milk. If you are in your area, village area, if you have milking cows, imagine what you are doing. You sell the milk to dairies. For example, dairies take milk at the cost of maybe rupees 20 or 30 rupees per liter. But the same milk, when it's packed and sold by certain brands like Amul, Arogya, Doodh Pandari or whatever it may be, they charge higher amount for the purpose of, they say for the processing and all other things, they charge a higher rate. So question here is that actually who is supposed to get the maximum benefit? The person who is supposed to get the maximum benefit is the person who is actually involved in the process of production. But it is not happening. The middleman or the merchant is getting more profit than the person who is really involved in the production of any kind of goods. Okay. So cooperative society. Let us go through the story of cooperative society. We have seen weavers are paid very little by the merchants under the putting out system. Weavers cooperatives are one way to reduce the dependence on merchants. That is what we say Khadi Gram or weavers cooperative society, where weavers work and share the profit equally. In a cooperative, people with common interests come together and work for the mutual benefit. That is what shared. In a weavers cooperative, the weavers form a group and take up certain activities collectively, means together. They procure yarn from the yarn dealer and distribute it among the weavers. The cooperatives also does the marketing, so the role of the merchants is reduced and viewers get a fair price on the cloth. At times the government helps the cooperatives by buying cloth from them at a reasonable price. For instance, the Tamil Nadu government runs a free school uniform program in the state. The government procures the cloth for this program from the powerloom weavers. Similarly, government buys cloth from the handloom weavers cooperative and sell it through Co-optex. Co-optex is a shop which sells the cooperative product. So such cooperative society definitely may be there in and around your place. So this is how the weavers are involved in cooperative setup. Okay, the left out topics will continue in the next video session. Take care. Wish you a wonderful day. Thank you.